This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
The After Party live on a Trivia Thursday. Woohoo! Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys hopping over and clicking the subscribe button. We are just about 10 subscriptions away from the goal of 2,500. So hopefully we'll be able to get there pretty soon. Click the subscribe button if you haven't, and while you're at it, click that like button as well. I really appreciate the help. Thank you to everyone who contributes to the After Party Live. Keep this show rolling. I'm very grateful for the crowdfunding of this show. It is one of my most unfavorite things to do, is to ask for folks to crowdfund it, and the way you step up really, really touches my heart. Thank you so much to Wes, who once again throws in $5 today. And yesterday, even though he was involved in a fender bender, Wes is fine, is okay, but what a nightmare. And still, he's concerned about funding the show. So thank you to Wes for that. Jane O did a PayPal payment as well. So thank you to Jane O for the contribution there. And to everyone who funds this show. You guys are, again, very appreciated. The PayPal information is in the show description every day, and it is also in the About tab. Okay. PayPal and Patreon. We don't have Patreon on this show. Just PayPal, and then the YouTube super chats and super stickers and stuff. Nolafidian would subscribe 10 more times if I could. Thank you. And subscribing is free. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. I didn't know you were a Luxembourger. This is a weird story. So my aunt calls one day, and she's kind of the family historian and has tracked down all the family history. And I've dabbled in it, but mostly piggybacking on her research. And she says, did you know our great, great, great grandmother came here from Luxembourg right around the 1900s? And when they came at that point, if a Luxembourger came to America, they were stripped of their Luxembourgish citizenship. And Luxembourg, over the last decade, has done this thing where they're trying to right that wrong and repatriate people and give that citizenship back to the ancestors of those folks. So if you could prove your ancestry with birth certificates and marriage documents, they will restore your citizenship. And I said, what's the downside to doing that? And she said, well, if you run for public office, you might have to renounce your Luxembourgish citizenship. But other than that, there really isn't a downside. So I thought, why not? So now me and my children, we all have Luxembourgish dual citizenship with our American citizenship. So yeah, kind of interesting that they're doing that. And I'm not sure why, other than maybe they're looking for more of an investment from people and people to move there, or maybe spend money in the country, or maybe they really are trying to right a wrong. But yeah, kind of fun to now know that if we're in the EU, we don't really have to leave very quickly. Delette, thank you. Honored to be a subscriber and a PayPal supporter. Thank you, Delette. Awesome. I really appreciate you guys. Does McDonald's sell? Yes, it is part of the EU. It is. So my kids could go to European Union institutions, colleges, universities, and get a heck of a deal. Does McDonald's sell Luxembourgers? I don't think they do. Nope. Trevor says, I'm technically a duke or earl or something in a little town in Poland. Well, that's cool. I love it. You have to tell us what town. No, sadly, the citizenship does not apply to David. He has to live there for 5 years, learn Luxembourgish, which is this smash between German and French, and he has to pass a test in order to get his citizenship. So easier for him because we are citizens, so he would have a reason to live there. But yeah. Tammy says, cool, I think all my country origins said good riddance to my ancestors. That's it. Deidre's family has been here too long for me to qualify for citizenship in another country. Well, the same branch of that family also has someone who arrived on the Mayflower and the signers of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. So we've got it all in this family from recent to long term. It's weird, but really interesting when you start looking into your ancestry. Okay, Trevor's, I can't even pronounce it. Nemswitz, Poland? Nemswitz, Poland? Very nice. You are the Earl of Nemswitz. So noted. Who's got the rod of equity and mercy now, my friend? That's right. Yeah, he could work remotely. That's right. We could move there today. Deidre also has the Mayflower people. My Mayflower guy was the first person executed for murder in the colonies. Yeah, that's our family's claim to fame. So that's nice. All right, enough about me, and let's move on because we don't have a lot of time. But well, the time we do have together, I thought we could spend, other than trivia, taking a look at the upcoming Winter Olympics 2026 in Italy. Check this out. These are the medals that will be issued in Italy for the Winter 2026 Games. They're being called minimalist Olympic medals, and they are very simple and plain, but also kind of classy. I kind of like it. What do you think of those? These are the Italian Olympic medals that will be given out to the winners of the 2026 Winter Games. Can't believe that's coming up so quickly. They're two opposing halves that come together to form the minimalist medal for next year's Milano Cortina Winter Games. The first time the Winter Olympics will have two host cities, Milano and Cortina in Italy. So each half of the medal is defined by a contrasting texture, one polished and one frosted, to capture the milestone of two different host cities. It represents the effort between the athletes, the group effort, and their teams required to win. So, one half could represent your solo goal, one half your team goal, this type of thing. The designer of the medal said, "We wanted the design to reflect the idea that victory is never a solitary moment. It's built through collective strength, support, and unity." The story, they say, lives in the surface of the medals where the two textures meet and begin a narrative shaped not only by the athletes, but by everyone who helped them get there. It's a cleaved design. It's also the two halves joined at an angle, bisecting the Olympic logo with the 5 rings you see there. And the surface is subtly inclined with raised edges, bringing a sense of movement and dynamism to these medals. They say we've conceived of a medal that represents purity and a return to essence. Here's a closer look. You can see how part of it's a little raised there. Yeah. All 1,146 medals needed for these games are being manufactured by the Italian State Mint. They said in Rome, using waste gold, silver, and bronze recovered from the mint's own production and induction furnaces powered entirely by renewable energy. Also, there's engraving on the bottom of the medal as well. You can see the Olympic Games etched into the bottom around the outside edge of the medal. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, nice. The designers say, rather, this is the president of Italy's Lombardy region where the games are being held. Just like the Olympic torches, the medals are a perfect synthesis of design and tradition, two cornerstones of the Italian way of thinking. So I like it. They're still working on the logo for the Winter Games. They're thinking they'll do an angular logo, a duo of torches, maybe. We'll see. They're still working on all that. But that's the Olympic medal. We get a sneak preview of it here on the After Party Live. I wanted to bring this story to you yesterday, and I'll bring it to you today. Look at that building. It's cool, right? It's a hotel in Thailand. I think that's a pretty neat looking building. The building is designed to look like lanterns stacked on top of each other. Yeah, glowing lantern towers for this project in Thailand. It's called Hatai. There are two hotels in Bangkok, Thailand, with stacked rounded forms in different sizes that are a nod to Thai lanterns. Here's how it looks at night. The lanterns lit up. It's really interesting the way they've stacked those structures on top of each other. I don't know. I thought it stood out. If you were driving by, you'd be like, what the heck is that place? Right? It's cool. The building is described as a lantern quarter. It's two hotels, the Six Senses and the Narai Hotel, more than 300 rooms involved here. The buildings to be located on the site of the original Narai Hotel in the historic Salam district of Thailand. In these really cool looking buildings, you will also find a ballroom, conference facilities, a wellness center. The buildings are designed to glow at night, drawing on traditional Thai lanterns, aiming to bring softness and soul to the city skyline. I think they've definitely achieved that goal. Softness and soul. I like it. Designers say we've designed a series of lanterns stacked on top of one another, collectively forming a much softer silhouette in the skyline. And we have the opportunity, they say, to create a major piece of public space, including rain protection, planting, and water, all designed to encourage street level life filled with curiosity and exploration. Below on the walkway on the public streets and kind of a courtyard in the building structure, like down below, they designed a public space which features elevated walkways and a public village, a plaza with native planting, a shrine, open air market, a nursery and event spaces, and a restored canal that's flowing through this space. It's a space they're trying to create for everyone in the city's urban landscape. They said they wanted to do something that connects with the country's heritage in a deeper way and builds detail, feeling, and adds story back to the city. So this hotel, these hotels, I should say, will open in 2028, and they are another example of one of these projects that make use of very innovative shapes. They're really interesting. Yeah. I think it completely jumps out at you. All right. Next, I wanted to tell you about this guy. Well, hello, sir. He's being called the British Thor. His name is Ross Edgley, and he is swimming around the island of Iceland, 1,000 miles. And it's an extreme challenge. He said he's battling towering waves, swimming past orcas, and his skin is sloughing off. The temperatures are so cold. But he said he was inspired by Thor. So he's in the middle of a challenge, he says, worthy of the Norse god. It's going to take him 4 months. He's in the middle of this now to swim 1,000 miles around the entire island or country, both synonymous, of Iceland. And he's doing it in the name of science. There's a video of him that shows parts of his tongue sloughing off because of the salty seawater. He's in the water so much every day. Right now, he's in the northern coast area. Here's a little map of how far he's gone so far. You can see the red around the edge. He's near Reykjavik. At least that's what we know of his last location. He's done big endurance events like this before. He swam 1,800 miles around the coast of Great Britain, got a Guinness World Record for swimming 317 miles along the Yukon River in Canada. But this is something else. This is cold. Ross is 39. He swims 18 miles a day, then hops out, takes a little rest, jumps in the next day, keeps on swimming. But he said his body is taking this constant battering. Still, he remains cheery. He said, you just do your best to keep it in some sort of shape, controlling the inevitable breakdown of your body and hoping you get back into Reykjavik. He's eating to do this between 10 and 15,000 calories a day. He likes to have pasta, Icelandic licorice. He said, you're basically running through all that food. It's basically an eating competition with a bit of swimming. He said he gets up, he swims for 6 hours, he rests for 6 hours, then he gets back in the water and he swims for another 6 hours, and he just does that on repeat. It's simple, but brutal. He said to do this, he took the hint from animals in this area that have lived here for thousands of years, whales, seals. He said, I ended up putting on 10 to 15 kilos of pure fat, a bit of muscle, but a lot of fat. Because when you look at what sort of animals survive in Iceland, there's the idea of sea blubber. You want insulation and you want body fat. So he's talks a little bit about orcas as well. He said that he's seen pods of them and they've actually come pretty close to check him out, wondering what this Englishman is doing in Icelandic waters, and then they just went their separate ways. And he said he's trying to fight some of the bad press that orcas might have because of a verified case. He said there's never been a verified case of an orca attacking a human in the wild. That's what he says. I don't know. I've seen videos of them rocking boats, but he says orcas are amazing animals. They deserve our respect and they shouldn't be feared. While he's doing this swim, he's also doing a little bit of science. He said he's collecting daily samples of environmental DNA in the water, as well as checking for levels of microplastics. He said, so by the end of this thing, we're going to have this map of biodiversity around the whole coast of Iceland in a level of detail we've never really seen before. So it's going to be really comprehensive. Here's another picture. So that's where he is right now. And here's a picture of him swimming. There he is. Ross Edgley says he's thinking of the legacy of this swim, the records he's setting, and that all that will be really nice. But he says it's the science and the research that he's contributing to that will make the chafing and losing parts of his tongue worth it. The swim being paid for by self-funding and by sponsorships as well. So he's doing it. And he did say, because he is called the UK Thor, the British Thor, he said he was inspired by Chris Hemsley and his role as Thor. He said this would be the closest thing to swimming around Asgard that he could think of. So he said it's amazing that he gets to hear the stories of Nordic folklore. He said around every fjord he swims and he meets the people, they're always telling him stories like this. So very cool. That's the British Thor. Keep swimming, sir. Looking pretty good there. All right. Can we talk for a moment about this meteorite? Because I have a meteorite update for you. Remember, we thought it would go for, they thought, the auctioneers thought it would go for around 4 million. This is the largest piece of Mars that has gone up for auction on Earth. It's 54 pounds, found in the Sahara in 2023. And it beat estimates. It sold for more than 5 million at an auction in New York. The auction featured rare geological and archaeological objects. There was a juvenile dinosaur skeleton at the auction too. Went for more than $30 million. So this 54-pound meteorite was discovered in the Sahara Desert in Niger by a meteorite hunter in 2023. It, they think, was blown off the surface of Mars by a massive asteroid strike, and then it traveled 140 million miles to Earth. They had estimated that it would go from anywhere to 2 to 4 million, and the final bid was 4.3 million. With the fees and the costs and all the auction hoop-de-doo, the official price was $5.3 million. They said the live bidding on this was slower than for other objects that were sold at auction with this auction, that the auctioneer was trying to coax more offers. So it is, as you can see, kind of reddish, brownish gray, about 70% larger than the next largest piece of Mars found on Earth, and it represents nearly 7% of all the Martian material currently on this planet. It measures 15 inches by 11 inches by 6 inches. And it's rare. There are only 400 Martian meteorites out of the more than 77,000 officially recognized meteorites found on Earth. This, again, the largest they found by a long shot. More than double the size of what they previously thought was the largest piece of Mars. So, 5.3 mil. And remember, it has that glassy surface, probably because of the high heat that burned when it fell through the Earth's atmosphere. I wonder what they're going to do with it. I don't know. Sotheby's not disclosing the owner. They don't know. This meteorite, by the way, was previously on display at the Italian Space Agency in Rome. So I kind of hope somebody that is going to display it, let people see it, let scientists have access to it, that's the kind of person or institution that would have paid this amount of money for this thing. Yeah. Here's a story for you. You see somebody you think might be in distress? Not so much. I know that's a weird picture. What you're looking at here is water and a blow-up doll. Yeah. Somebody reported a person in a canal in California that looked to be in distress. This happened in Fresno. The 911 call came in about someone trapped in the rushing water of a canal. So emergency rescue crews go out and they find a discarded blow-up doll. The person who saw this said it looks like there's a person, maybe deceased, trapped against a grate by rushing water. And so initially when they came out, they thought it did appear to be a body, but then they realized, no, that's a life-size blow-up doll. So they had to get it out. They had to alert the irrigation district to come out and pluck out this blow-up doll. Remember this happened last year in New Zealand with a lady on a beach. She was walking her dog on the beach and thought she saw a headless body of a woman that had washed up in the sand. And it was actually, again, a blow-up doll. It's, you know what? Great outcome, because we don't want to see any loss of life. But just kind of funny when rescue crews get out there and they're like, oh, false alarm. Yeah. Here's an interesting one, and then we're going to get to trivia. Check this out. This is actually, you know what? Yeah, well, I'll do this story. This is a routine eye exam, what that would look like. And this routine eye scan could predict 10-year heart attacks and stroke risks. The study out of the University of Dundee and the researchers using AI to analyze digital retinal photographs with this technology able to produce personal risk predictors in less than a second. That's fast. So they say using the retinal scans and the artificial intelligence to analyze your retinal photographs, which are pictures taken from the back of the eye to look for certain conditions, that the technology is able to produce personalized risk predictors in less than a second. Now, the researchers are hoping that because of the success of this, that maybe someday this test could be offered alongside blood pressure and cholesterol tests to allow people to doctors to treat patients for things a little earlier. They published the study in the journal Cardiovascular Diabetology, and they looked at eye scans of people with type 2 diabetes, who often, because of the possibility for eye damage, will undergo routine eye tests to check for diabetic retinopathy. That's when your high blood sugar levels damage your blood sugar in your retina. And they say this might be surprising to people, but the eyes are a window to the heart. If there is damage or narrowing of the blood vessels at the back of the eye, there's a good chance that will also be seen in the blood vessels further inside the body, supplying the heart, which could lead to heart attack or stroke. So they say the AI tool, initially the AI was instructed. You're looking for warning signs on the images like blood vessel narrowing or blockages. And then they allowed the AI to look for any detail in the photographs, like the size or arrangement of blood vessels. And then they fed it 4,200 images. And it was able to predict the people who would go on to have a major cardiovascular event, like a heart attack or a stroke, within a decade. 70% accuracy. That's pretty good. Could be an important part of the package alongside blood pressure and cholesterol checks, they say, in identifying people who could benefit from either medication or lifestyle changes or both. Of course, as always, more research is needed to show that this prediction accuracy is good enough to determine whether or not it should be included into routine checks. But I thought that was pretty cool. All right. Are you guys ready for Trivia Thursday? Here it is, after party style. Okay, here we go. I'm going to the chat, getting myself all set up. Yeah, it uses AI. That's right. Okay, here we go. We are going to Trivia Thursday after party style, and I have some fun questions for you today, including some travel trivia questions. Yep. Okay. We begin with the friendliest city in the world. What is it? The friendliest city in the world? I mean, subjective, but there is a certain answer. And while we're waiting for the friendliest city in the world, Harry says Paris. I do want to recap a discrepancy in trivia from last week. And the question last week that brought in much criticism, well deserved, I will add, was what year did the Berlin Wall come down? And many people answered 1989, which is when you remember the media coverage of people dancing on the wall and tearing chunks of it down. That is when that happened. But the trivia question was worded as, when did the wall finally come down, or something like that. And construction work, they said, to pull the wall down started in 1990, and they said it finished in 1991. So 1991 was the official answer, but many people said that is not true, that the wall came down in 1989 when people started partying and, pulling chunks of the wall down, when everything happened. I think you're right. I don't like the trivia answer that was provided. So if you said 1989, 1990, or 1991, you got it right. Okay. Now, we'll go back to the friendliest city in the world. And we have, from Paris to San Francisco to Oslo to Fresno to London to somewhere in Ireland to Amsterdam to Tokyo to Disneyland to Sydney, another Amsterdam, Danville, Philadelphia, Toronto, New York, maybe Toronto, says Nullifidian, Vancouver, says Yvonne. Well, the answer is Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, is technically the friendliest city in the world? Again, the answer Vancouver. Who said Vancouver? Anybody? Yvonne said Vancouver. Look at that. Toronto, a Singapore, a Stockholm. I gave you too much time to cheat. All right, I have to be quicker on the uptake. I'm sorry I had to correct myself because I had there was a trivia backlash. There was a mutiny, an uprising, as it were. So I had to make it right, my friend. SJ Lola says, yeah, Vancouver is a very friendly city. I don't know. We aren't supposed to question trivia. I suspect it's something like, what Reno, the biggest little city in the world or something. You adopt your slogan, and theirs is probably the friendliest city in the world. All right. By the way, yeah, he says full came down later. I will say that my daughter was just in Berlin on her orchestra trip and has posted or sent me pictures of large chunks of the Berlin Wall that still stand, and they're painted with these colorful and interesting murals. So in that case, not all of the Berlin Wall is down. Some of it still stands and is, being used as a backdrop for art in the country. Nolafidian said, I figured it must be Canada. All right. Next question. And this one, maybe you did, John Watson. I should have let you know so you could go see the show. She'd performed 4 times in Europe, in Germany and Amsterdam. So kind of cool. Delette has said, Alexa says Copenhagen is the friendliest. I don't know. I don't think so. John says they still have portions of the wall up for historical reasons. A beautiful Mark Thompson show time waster. I think that's Chris's way of saying, get to the trivia, girlfriend. Next question. Where did the bungee jump originate? Where did the bungee jump originate? First folks to do the bungee jumping. Don't Google it. It was, Chris says, New Zealand. Chris is correct. As a matter of fact, the answer is Auckland, New Zealand. That was where the bungee jump originated. Well done. Chris, with New Zealand, I have Yvonne with New Zealand as well. On a bridge would also be technically correct. Thank you so much, Trevor Starr in Hollywood. Harry says New Zealand. Yeah. Bungee, Oregon. A bridge someplace, says Jim. Next question. Which country covers the most time zones on the planet? Which country covers the most time zones on the planet? You would think it would be Russia, but it is not. I'm seeing a lot of Russias. Oh, you guys are probably going to prove me wrong on this one too. I'm trusting the trivia page. No sé, says Mama. China, says Jim. USA, says Chris. What came first, the bungee jump or the bungee cord? Antarctica, says Heather. Then you think we would remember it, right? The answer, according to this trivia question, is France. Which country covers the most time zones on the planet? France is the answer to this. What is the only living structure visible from space? The only living structure visible from space. I know. The only living structure visible from space is? Yeah, Jim says coral. Let's see. I'm going back, scrolling back. Deidre says coral reef. Yes. The answer is the Great Barrier Reef is the only living structure visible from space, the Great Barrier Reef. So Deidre says coral reef. I'll give it to her. John says Great Barrier Reef. Of course, that is correct. Blue Spark had coral reef. Jim said coral. I'll accept. Teacher Lori said Great Barrier Reef. Viewfinders wants to know who writes this trivia anyway. And the question is, I find it in a variety of places. A variety of source material is used. Louise says Great Barrier Reef. Louise is correct as well. Nice. Okay, next question. Jim wants me to check the time zone question. I will check the time zone question and likely correct myself next week. Next question. What state in the United States, which US state I should say, is only one syllable long? Oh, Deidre checked me. The time zone Q, it's France, she said. I don't know. Yeah, you guys got it. The only state with one syllable, Heather says it's Maine. And Heather's right. Oh, Uncle Jim said Maine as well. Sorry, I missed that one. Uncle Jim says Maine, and Heather says Maine. So does Deidre and Trevor and Jim and Uncle Jim again. I got you. You left the A out, but I'll count it. Blue Spark with Maine and Mama and Phineas and Sandy. Nice. The challenge flag has been tossed by Jim. Harry says Maine. Gordon says Maine, and so does Nullifidian and Tammy. Viewfinders and Valley Star. Maybe she grokked it. I do not AI anything, just so you know. Nope. Which city, and you could make the argument that there are more than one of these, but the one I'm looking at is in Italy. Which city has more cars than it does people? Which city has more cars than it does people? Which is weird because it doesn't look like a very car-y place. I don't know. It looks like kind of a breathtaking, gorgeous hillside with a castle, pretty place. I'll screen share it before I tell you the answer. Here's what it looks like. You go into the chat. Yeah, you guys got it. Okay, so I got a lot of LAs. See, I would have thought that. Maui, says Mo. Rome, LA, Rome. Fiat, Italy, says Trevor. A good answer. Vatican, Venice. Milan, says Chris. It is, as Doug says, pardon my cough, San Marino, Italy. Apparently has more cars than it does people. Who knew? Doug did. That's right. San Marino, Italy. Doesn't it look like a place that it's surprising that would be? I mean, look at that castle on that hillside, on that cliff. Doesn't look like more cars than people, but maybe we'll have a Travel Tuesday there next time to check that out. I don't know. All right. Next question. Here we go. Let me take that off the screen. Good job, Doug. The next question is: the longest boardwalk in the world exists in this city and state. The longest boardwalk in the world exists in this city and state. Hmm. Regarding San Marino, uh, which I have listed as Italy in my trivia, but this says the city of San Marino, also simply known as San Marino, is the capital city of the Republic of San Marino, one of its 9 castelli on the western slopes of San Marino's highest point, Monte Titano, the 5th least populated national capital in the world. But then you search for San Marino, Italy, and all the pictures of San Marino come up. So I I don't know. It's on the Adriatic side of central Italy between Emilia Romagna and the Marche regions, surrounded on all sides by the Republic of Italy, the smallest independent state in Europe. All right. So I can understand why they said Italy because it's kind of surrounded by Italy, but noted, point taken. Once again, after partiers have shown they are the best. The best. Cannot fool you guys. Okay, the longest boardwalk in the world exists in this city and state. Do we have it? Yeah, I got it. Let me scroll back. I chit-chatted too much. I'm sorry. I need to get to the business of trivia, don't I? The answer is Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wes. Looks like Wes first to the punch, at least on my screen. Chris says Atlantic City. That's correct. Mm-hmm. Atlantic City, says Tammy. Yep. SJ Lola has it as well. Yvonne has it. John has it. I'll take it, Nullifidian. Atlantic City, says Doug. That's right. Jane O with it. Michael D bringing it. Jim E. Nice. Keep looking. I'm looking. Yeah, you got it. Nice. I suck. No, you do not. You do not. Never. No. Which U.S. university was the sports drink Gatorade named after? Which U.S. university was the sports drink Gatorade named after? Yeah, you got the state. That counts. Deidre says that was Florida State. And Deidre is kind of correct. It was the University of Florida, the Florida Gators. Gators for Gatorade, right? The University of Florida, the Florida Gators is the answer to this question. And let's see, somewhere in Florida. Indeed. A lot of Florida states. This says the University of Florida. U of Florida, says Luis. Some Florida school, says Heather. Yep. Somewhere in Florida. Gator University. You guys got the gist of it. It was a toss up between the two schools. University of Florida. Wes says there's a huge Gatorade plant in, is it Kissimmee or Kissimmee? Yeah. Interesting. This is unbelievable. It seems to me unbelievable. The question reads this. I do not put full after party faith and confidence in this question, but I ask it because I'm fascinated. What is the only developed country without legally mandated vacations? The only developed country without legally mandated vacations. Just kiss me, says Rev. Wes says it's Kissimmee. Kissimmee. Okay. Kissimmee. 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 You guys got this right. I was surprised by the answer. Deidre says USA. Sadly, Deidre's correct. SJ Lola says it, so does JT and Sandy. And Heather and Chris and Ricky. And Uncle Jimmy Jim has it. So does John Watson. And Jim S. Phineas has it. And Trevor and Liz, Mama, Blue Spark. You guys all got it. I would have been the only one in the crowd to get this one wrong. Good job, Kim. Good job, you guys, actually. Come on. What popular grain was used in the construction of the Great Wall of China? What popular grain was used in the construction of the Great Wall of China? Trevor. First with this one, he says rice. Rice is right. Trevor says rice. Trevor gets it. So does Chris. So does SJ. So does John Watson. Uncle Jim, Deidre, Eileen has rice. And Tammy and Wes. Barley, Heather. Delette says rice. Maybe there's some barley in there. It could be. Sandy says rice. Viewfinders, Mo, Louise. Corn. Rice says Finn. Rice-a-roni. What else? Yeah, the San Francisco treat. Probably a lot of stuff in there, I would think. What country is said to have invented the hamburger? What country is said to have invented the hamburger? Deidre knew it so fast. Germany. She's right. Germany invented the hamburger. More ancestral knowledge. Parts of my family hail from Hamburg, Germany. Deidre says Hamburg. Says hamburger invented in Germany. Yes. Rev P says Germany. So does Sandy and Luis and Phineas and Jim. Heather says Germany. And JT and Nullifidian, Wes. You guys have your hamburger trivia down. Delette, Gordon, Mama. Jane got it. Why did I say Jose? Teacher Lori got it, and so did Liz. Not Luxembourg, right next door in Germany. Yeah, thought it was a trick question. I don't think I've asked this one before, Sandy. Perhaps I have. Okay, the next question. With 221,800 islands, this country is estimated to have the most islands in the world. With 221,800 islands, this country is estimated to have the most islands in the world. What country is it? We have a Philippines and Indonesia. I can see why you would think that. A Japan. Good answer. A Fiji. A Micronesia. Thailand. My degree from Trump U is not paying off. Malaysia, India, Thailand, lots of those. And I would think that would be correct. Yeah. Deidre Googled it and knows the real answer. Thank you for not popping in with the Google answer. Norway, says Doug, you are kind of warm. You're kind of warm. Switzerland, says Blue Spark. You're in the vicinity, I would say. You're in the neighborhood. Sandy says Sweden. Sandy is correct. Tammy says Sweden. Doug says Sweden. Yeah, it's Sweden. You guys Googled it. You can wait for me to say it. It's Sweden. Sweden has the most islands in the world, 221,800 800. How many countries still have a royal family? How many countries still have a royal family? That's my snotty voice. How many countries still have a royal family? Good guesses for 20. Heather says 47. I'll give it to the closest number because it's hard to know exactly how many, right? Heather's is 47. I got a 10, a 223, a 5, an 8. I am going to give it to Heather or John Watson or Phineas. They seem to be the closest. The correct answer is 43. 43 is the correct answer. 43 royal families still in existence. All right. What is the most bicycle-friendly city in the world? What is the most bicycle-friendly city in the world? I would have thought this too. Amsterdam, because Julia just got back, as mentioned, and she said everyone was on bicycles. So Sandy says Amsterdam. There's a lot of Amsterdams. Denmark. We're looking for a city. New York, says Deidre. A lot of Amsterdams. I would have gone with Amsterdam with you guys, but the answer is Copenhagen. Do you say Copenhagen or Copenhagen? Copenhagen. John Watson says it, and that is correct. Considered to be the most bicycle-friendly city in the world. SJ Lola jumping in there with it as well. Scrolling down, see who else has Copenhagen. Yeah, Davis has a lot of cyclists too. Yeah. All right. I'll do a couple more questions. What are the only two countries in the world that officially begin with the word the? The only two countries in the world that officially begin with the word the. Not one of the answers, although I would have thought so too. The Hague, the Netherlands, right? You would have thought? No. The Philippines? Nope. The Czech Republic? Nope. No. I mean, you can put the in front of almost anything. I think this is official. Yeah, the United States, right? Right. No, not one of the answers. The Democratic Republic of the Congo, the Dominican Republic, the Republic of Congo, the United Kingdom, and I'll give you the answers. The only two countries in the world that officially begin with the word the Gambia and the Bahamas. The Gambia and the Bahamas. Those are the two. Those are the two. Which state in the United States is nicknamed Finlandia and why? Which state is nicknamed Finlandia and why? I think so too. So we should have known it, right? It's like you know, circling back around for the final exam. Minnesota is the correct answer. And I'm seeing it pop up. William says Minnesota. Zero Sum has Minnesota. Jane has Minnesota. Heather thought Michigan because of all the folks of Finnish descent. The answer is Minnesota, and it's not because there are a lot of Finnish immigrants, though there may be. The answer is because it's shaped like Finland. That's why they call it Finlandia, because it's shaped like Finland. Who knew? Yeah. Chris says Minnesota as well. Yeah. Trevor says the Minnesota. Nice. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see what else I can ask you. Oh, how about this one? You guys should get this one. You guys are my drinking buddies, right? There is more bourbon than people in this state. There's more bourbon than people in this state. Deidre, quick to the punch with Kentucky. Kentucky is correct. SJ Lola also has Kentucky. I see it. Where are you, SJ? There she is. Kentucky is right. JT has Kentucky. So does Chris, John W., and Uncle Jim, and Rev P, Eileen, and Heather, Tammy, Delette, Blue Spark, and Wes, and Quesadilla, and Nullifidian, and Doug. Gordon, I see you with Kentucky. Nice. Yeah, Mama, it's Kentucky. Mo says Kentucky as well. Yeah. More bourbon than people in Kentucky. Crazy. All right. I'll give you another question. How about this one? Which country was the first to give women the right to vote? Which country was the first to give women the right to vote? Phineas, I only know weird trivia. You know what I could do? Afterward, I could paste them into the show description so that you could read them at the bottom of the show description. Donald is asking if I can somehow leave the trivia questions somewhere on the screen. So on the screen. You mean I can't do it while I'm doing the show. I suppose I could write it and say it at the same time. Are you asking for replay purposes, or for what you're asking, would it be sufficient to do it in, because you can always use the caption generator, or would it be sufficient to put it in the show description? I'm not sure what you're asking. But I'm happy to work with you on that for whatever your needs may be. All right. Which country was the first to give women the right to vote? I'm going back to it. I got an England, a Sweden, and Ireland, a Canada, an Amazon, an England, a Liberia, a Netherlands, a Luxembourg, an England. I used to know this, says Tammy. Australia. Gordon has it right. It's New Zealand. It's kind of been a New Zealand heavy day, hasn't it? New Zealand, the first country to give grant women, the right to vote. New Zealand. That is correct. Oh, and you want me to do it in real time? Boy, that would take me a long time to type up all these questions and put them in, and then I would have to do it on banners. You want them in the chat or on the screen? Can you use it? Is it possible, I wonder, to use a caption generator so that my words are captured in real time? I don't know. I'll have to ask Wes. Let's see what Wes has to say. I'll go to my tech guy. New Zealand, the first woman bungee and voter. Yeah, that's right. How funny is that? What is the only country in the world that has a flag with more than 4 colors? What is the only country in the world that has a flag with more than 4 colors? Don't think I would know this one, but you might. A flag with more than 4 colors. Do we know it? I'm not seeing it, but I will tell you that here is what it looks like. That's what it looks like. The only country in the world that has a flag with more than 4 colors. So you've got red, blue, green, yellow, white, I guess you could say. There's a lighter blue on there as well. There's brown. Luis, got it. It's Belize. That is correct. The only country in the world that has a flag with more than 4 colors is Belize. Isn't that weird? You'd think there'd be more than one. Apparently, there's not. Yeah. Let's see. Who else said Belize? Anybody? Any other Belizes that I missed while I was yip-yapping my way through the world here over here? I know that Luis has it. Pride, yeah, the pride flag. Luis, I think you stand alone, my friend. Oh, Doug has it. Doug has Belize. Yeah, good job. Where is Belize, says Gordon. South America, right? Belize map. We'll see what country it's next to. Belize is... Yeah, it's in South America. Hold on. Por favor. Here's the map I'm looking at, although the maps are a little funky. It's right next to Mexico. Belize. All right. All right. Well, I think thus ends the After Party Live Trivia Thursday. That is unbelievable, says Trevor. Mexico has more than 4, says John Watson. Does it? Mexican flag. Mexican flag has... Oh, you're right. It does. I think that's... I want to share this screen with you. So that's the Belize flag. And here is the Mexican flag. And John Watson is not wrong. Here's what it looks like. Red, green, white, brown, yellow. I'm going with turquoise. What else is in there? Pink? I see at least 7. Yeah, at least 7. So that question is disqualified. No, this shall not stand. All right, you guys. I promise next Trivia Thursday will be a much more professional get-together. All right? I'm going to source my material. I have this book. Should I show you the book? This is the Book of Facts and Trivia Science Edition. So get ready, brush off your science skills because we're going in. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday. Please join Nikki Maduro and I for the Nikki Maduro and me, I should say, for the Nikki Maduro show. It starts at 5 o'clock. It's our last recorded show before Nikki comes back from her vacation. And it was unbelievable, Trevor, indeed. And then we'll be live next Thursday. But we put together a great recorded show. So please stop by and click the like button and hang out with us for a bit. We have some fun stories on the schedule for you guys tonight. Again, that's 5 p.m., The Nikki Maduro Show. Tomorrow, it is The Mark Thompson Show, round about 11 a.m. And it includes, in addition to Friday Fabulous Florida, Michael Schur and Jim Avila and Michael Snyder. Anthony Davis will be on the show as well. So it's going to be a great Friday show. And then, of course, Tim Sika on the After Party Live. But until we meet again on the Nikki Maduro Show at 5 p.m. tonight here on the After Party or here on the YouTube, I hope that you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. Make it a good one. Thank you so much for playing trivia with me. And thank you to Luis for the $5 contribution. After Party Live announcement out now, the last class documenting Professor Robert Reich's final semester teaching his wealth and poverty class at Cal. Looks great. Don't know if you saw that, Luis, but Tim Sika reviewed that last week. So if you scroll back and you look at, actually, if you go under videos, you'll see the very last the movies with Tim Sika, which is pulled separately, and he reviews that, and he really, really thought that was good and enjoyed it, but the review is up, pulled separately in that segment for you. It's good. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. And thank you for the contribution, Luis, and everyone who has participated today. I'll see you tonight on the Nikki Maduro Show. I'll be in the chat hanging out. But until we meet again, make it a really good one. Bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Actually funny. No, I don't, but it seemed like it today. Yeah, Nikki's still on a road trip, but she'll be back. Well, Led, I doubt that. Not true, my friend. You got a bunch of them right today. Yeah, next week I'm gonna check, recheck, search my answers, and verify so that trivia can be trusted. I agree, Wes.